Deleted session, June 3rd, 1978. Now I know what I want to say, but sometimes with you too, it is difficult to know the best starting place. So we will begin Thursday, dealing with yesterday and the details you wanted. No interruptions or questions for now, if you will. Now, yesterday Robert told Frank that he would see him every other week, and he told a white lie to cover the real reason. Frank had brought him flowers. On the same day, he called your friend Peg, already wondering if he might have hurt Peg's feelings the week before. He invited Peg and Bill for the evening, but Peg had made other plans. Rupert felt he must have hurt Peg's feelings, and this made him also feel somewhat abandoned, fearing that. Besides this, he received a letter in the mail, reporting the worst kind of nonsense, saying that the correspondent and his wife had heard that I was holding back unknown to, because the information could not be handled by the populace. The letter rearoused several states of feeling, time taken for unknown to, for one thing, but also Rupert was struck by the gullibility of the correspondents, who were saying in effect that they could not lead their lives properly unless Rupert could deliver the material. The character of such nonsense reminded him of the worst elements of the psychic field. Now, you worked with the pendulum yesterday. You did not work with the pendulum, however, regarding those specific events. A good portion of the session will deal with such issues. When you and Rupert begin such a program as the pendulum, for example, it is valuable because of your joint initiation of it, and it served several excellent purposes. The best was probably the opening of fluent communication between the two of you, and Rupert's understanding that you would go full steam ahead to help him recover. His understanding that you did indeed want him to recover. That was highly important. The pendulum sessions have also served to bring issues out into the open. I watched you both with those sessions, and tried gently to monitor how you handled them. With the best of intentions, you have made a few errors there. First of all, many of the questions reinforce the idea of fear, for example, or lack of safety, each time they are asked. Am I afraid of the world? Am I afraid of my neighbors? Am I afraid of inspiration or whatever? Do I dread the word or inspiration or whatever? But your questions themselves are now loaded with built-in negative suggestions. Besides this, in an odd fashion, they lack a certain specific nature, as I will shortly explain, and there are too many of them by far to be handled at one session. That is, their number precludes any one single clear path, specifically noted. I want to stress the purposes they have served, and their general nature, and so forth. They help to bring up a variety of important issues. You now have too jumbled a variety of material to effectively handle. The negative aspect of some of the questions has not helped. I would like to suggest a different approach, and one that would have greatly benefited the situation yesterday, say, and today, had it been used earlier. Give us a moment, a long one. You said yourself, I believe once that life contains elements of each other recognitional existence, and that each day did also. The problems and attitudes that bother Rupert also appear, one or another of them, in each day. The pendulum can best be used to deal with specific events, with specific attitudes. I want to suggest a different kind of program, that is, a version of what you have, and that will bring better results. I am aware, of course, of your conversation this morning, and I must state that it is difficult for me to try to explain what is so clear to me and obviously unperceived by either of you a good deal of the time. The body is full of sensation. The most pleasurable of bodily sensations, prolonged overmuch or concentrated upon unduly, can appear quite painful. In your latest attempts to remedy the situation, and in your determination to do so, you have ended up concentrating upon the problem, putting it foremost in your minds, searching for the reasons, and giving yourselves no rest. Ruber usually has a variety of bodily sensations, often simultaneously, some pleasant and relaxing, while others may be unpleasant. Again, with the best of intentions. The focus of your pendulations has not been of the best lately, and you yourself feel swamped by so much material. I am aware that often neither of you thinks Ruber is improving one whit. And of course, that is part of the difficulty. It is not the other way around, however, it appears to you. Ideally, Ruber could completely recover with no discomfort. Practically, he is indeed experiencing more discomfort than he needs to. That is because of the concentration upon the problem, the concentration upon the unpleasant sensations, rather than any pleasant ones. And also because you have indeed determined to settle the problem and opened up so many issues at once. Shortly after Ruber began using the chair, for example, he decided that he would try to walk to the end of the living room. He had you put a pillow on a chair so he could rest there if he did not make it. He felt a sense of accomplishment and some delight with himself when he walked to the end of the room and back without needing the chair. Spontaneously he began wanting to walk more, and again was quite pleased when he made the circle for the first time. The next 2 days his hips were going through considerable changes, and it hurt him. So he did not walk nearly as much, and you both became frightened, Ruber more than you. Following this, he instantly decided that he must walk considerably more, at least 3 or 4 times around the circle, and at the last count, once an hour, whether or not he felt like it, and particularly when he did not feel like it. Now, walking is obviously good for him, and I have encouraged it. I realize now that I simply cannot expect either of you at this point to trust Ruber's body to know what it is doing. There are times, according to the changes occurring, when naturally it will not work, say for a good part of the day, and often left alone, it might suddenly want to exercise new positions, but you both become frightened, adding to the body's stress further. So for now, I simply suggest that Ruber walk gently 3 or 4 times a day to whatever degree seems natural at the time. Otherwise, my position is this, and here I repeat, because overall changes in position and balance are necessitated in order for normal walking to occur. One portion of the body at this point is not going to right itself, so that, for example, Ruber's arms are suddenly straight while his knees are bent. All portions of the body are stretching. The arms are longer, the legs have straightened. The knees are looser, the neck areas are releasing. But at any given day or period, right now, one or several areas might well be stiff or uncomfortable. Last week, Ruber's legs again were more or less of equal length. The left leg has straightened further, so now the right side is newly stimulated to stretch some more. Ruber feels that stretch. The sensation itself is a strange one. quite active rather than passive. You do not trust that beneficial changes are occurring in the body until you see what you consider are the proper results, particularly in better performance. The fact is, of course, quite unapparent to you both that there is better performance, in that the legs are lengthening, the ankles are loosening, they are not becoming tighter. The main fact is, however, that you still do not trust the process, and that you concentrate upon the poorest aspects of physical evidence, and therefore continue to perceive it. I cannot change my stand on that issue, regardless of your opinions of it, the two of you. Everything that I am saying tonight is an effort to minimize Rupert's discomfort and to quicken the healing. I am going to suggest a program, and regardless of what you think of it, the two of you, I would like you to try it and urge you to do so. I do not expect that you will approve of it entirely, but I can assure you that it will be beneficial if you try to place trust in what I am saying. After breakfast, use the pendulum to insert positive suggestions of a specific nature, not about the world, but psychological support and directions for the specific day. Such suggestions do direct your focus psychologically. Do this together. The suggestions should be clear and to the point. Rupert has 2 old lists of such suggestions that can be used as a model, and those lists worked well, incidentally, at the time. Now, instead of dealing with such issues, Rupert is to write at least a page about his feelings that day, with particular emphasis upon any issues that bother him at all. Over a period of several weeks, for example, he will have dealt with specific incidents and his reactions. I do not know how you want to handle this, but the two of you should go over that page of feelings together. According to the day, the situation, you may then want to work with the pendulum, considering some specific event or issue from that day. But this need not be a lengthy session at all. With your discussion, perhaps 10 minutes with the pendulum would be sufficient. The pendulum also can be used when any event occurs, again, when specifics apply. The set of the day in the morning, however, should consist of positive suggestions that automatically reassure the subconscious of its energy, strength, and safety. For those reassurances automatically help alter beliefs that have been built upon countering feelings. That is, you are then adding new information upon which the subconscious will then act. Rupert's writing down his feeling will assure that not only nothing goes underground, but will take care of current issues as they happen. Give us a moment. The physical reasons for Rupert's eye problems are as I gave them. Psychologically, they began when Rupert became worried over 2 issues. He began to feel helpless when he knew he needed more dental work, and became afraid he could not make it to the office. He looked too ungainly, he felt. Besides, even if he could make it, he also began to worry about helping with unknown at that time and about Psyche. Give us a moment. Writing things down is excellent for Rupert in particular, and so again on those days when no specific events occur. To be included in his notes, then I want him to write down his feelings about 1. Inspiration, 2. Work, 3. Unknown reality, 4. Psyche, 5. In mirror. It is most likely, however, that those subjects will come up, you see, in any case, in his daily writing down feelings. The writing down allows for the immediate release and expression of feeling that becomes impossible with so many pendulum questions. The pendulum can also be used quite effectively for only a few moments, but habitually, before bed, the two of you together, with Ruber suggesting that he will read comfortably and awaken refreshed in the morning, that he will have a therapeutic sleep. Give us a moment. I am aware of the fact, of course, that you both want Ruber to work more and better. But you must also not judge his body's working by usual standards. Allow it a sense of accomplishment as it progresses. It does know when it is ready to try out new positions, when it needs rest. And while I see your concern, do allow it to express some variety there. The program I have outlined should allow you to take more advantage of framework too, but you must both remind yourselves of the good intent of the body and the power of your own intent. Do not anticipate impediments. I said this before, and you have never really followed through. But if Ruber would note down whatever feelings of release he has, or whatever improvements he senses, and if you would both recognize those as accomplishments, they would greatly improve in number and quality. You believe that, or you don't, but the fact remains. End of session. Now prepare questions if you want for our next session, but read this one over carefully first. The only hint I can give you for your benefit is one, again, that I have given you often before. Try to imagine Ruber's complete recovery as a creative endeavor, a creative venture, in which all kinds of inner events occur even before and way before. Try to imagine Ruber's complete recovery as a creative endeavor, a creative venture, in which all kinds of inner events occur even before and way before the completed picture shows itself. Again, Sesame did not show in any way on the outside, yet the work was largely prepared before the first line was written. You tread the creative process in art. Only in dealing with Ruber's body do you both become so literal, so determined. It seems you cannot trust the creative ability's biological translations, but the body is certainly as creative as the mind, in those terms. Whenever the two of you manage to free your creative abilities and set them to work on a physical situation, you do see some results. It is as if you have page 5 of the book and glare at it because the entire manuscript is not there, and the fuss and the fume, and what might happen to prevent the next page being written. End of session.